Good morning, LinkedIn family. It's time for another Coffee with Bob. I'm always very pleased to be introducing new connections, as well as helping current connections um, get their word out there about what they do and what they need. Tim McCulloch here is a new connection of mine, so I'm very pleased to be introducing him to you all. He is a cyber dude extraordinaire. Like me, he's got a lot of experience and background in the tech space. Has been around probably not as long as I've been around, but he's been around for a while, and his experience runs deep. Tim, thank you for connecting and being on Coffee with Bob. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the time. Yes, like you said, my background in the technical area spans a large area. I started off in junior high, working on a teletype connected to the University of Pittsburgh, Carnegie Mellon, and somehow we got a log into Westinghouse Research to work on their systems. I progressed from there through college, and my first job out of college was working for Mellon Bank Data Center, who was a correspondent bank processor, processing commercial banks work for over 300 clients.
Oh, wow.
So I was to come in and replace somebody that was the mortgage loan person for the mortgage loan processing system. So right out of college, I was supposed to be the mortgage loan expert.
Ah.
And my training program consisted of, there's a terminal, here's the manual, go for it.
Nice.
So I worked through that, and I eventually ended up actually digging through the COBOL code to understand why things weren't running correctly as they should. So that sort of got me more into the technical end.
Yeah, okay.
So I've spanned working on mainframes. At one point in time, I worked for M&T Bank. I worked also on a mainframe system, but also they had a loan origination system. So I ended up with another colleague writing a complete loan origination system. It was in a client server environment using FoxPro.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I remember FoxPro.
FoxPro and DBase too.
Right.
So, and now with our current environment, with the cloud environment, I've started to work in that, working with a friend of mine on a package for small businesses to run. And I'm looking at a RAIN RFID solution for small businesses. So at this point, I'm trying to design or configure my first edge server so I can read the RFID tags and then talk to the cloud.
Very cool. And what are the RFID tags being used for?
For POS, for inventory management, and for loss prevention.
Very cool. Okay. All right.
So I started to learn a lot about different antennas, different readers, multiplexers. So, and now I'll be starting to learn how to code them too.
Very cool. And is this something that you would transition into the blockchain possibly?
Yes, I've looked at that. He actually ran a blockchain service, running a series of processors to run the blockchain. And so he's out of that now, but he's, like I said, he's now into running a retail outlet and designing his own software to replace all the various companies he has to deal with.
Yeah, yeah.
Exorbitant fees, monthly fees.
Yeah, interesting. Very cool. Talk a little bit about some of your most recent gigs that you've had.
Well, I recently came off of an engagement with the College of American Pathologists, and they actually deal in providing testing services to pathology labs and hospitals around the country. They were upgrading their system and moving towards the cloud. I was working on the reporting end of it, modifying some reports so that it could integrate back into their system. So it was an interesting engagement where I got to learn about a totally brand new environment. I've never been in that environment, but I guess add that to my list. I've been in, worked at power plants, I've worked in pharmaceuticals, I worked in telephone companies. So I have quite an exposure to a different array of industries.
And I think that's, for anyone in technology today, having exposure to all those various types of industries, I think is nothing but a benefit for you, right? Because
Correct.
You have that ability to see beyond sort of the industry criteria and maybe even be a little more creative when it comes to coming up with technical solutions, right?
Yes. I was very fortunate that my first job was with Mellon Bank Data Center because, like I said, they dealt with many customers around the country. So anytime we got a request for a change, we had to look at it at various angles. Number one, how much will this cost?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, who does it benefit? Does it benefit only that client or maybe one or two clients or a broad range of clients? So we might not charge the customer because of that, but add it to as an enhancement to our product line. So it's a more of a sales tactic. Or can this be bundled up with other changes and possibly sold as an a la carte service on the particular application we're running?
Mm-hmm.
So that enabled me to look at when we would design changes, not just look at the spec in front of you, but look at the broader range, saying how can this benefit the maximum number of clients out there? And I've always sort of taken that approach, even when I'm working on a single client, because I feel, and I've been right probably 98% of the time, that taking the broad approach like that doesn't really cost any more right at the point in time, but down the road, when you're trying to shoehorn in a change
Mm-hmm.
into a very rigid system, that's when you start to run into several problems.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to have that. You get the benefit later on down the road during the upgrade path and stuff like that. I agree with you 100%. That's the way to look at it.
So, and I've been fortunate that I've worked on many platforms. So, and I've worked with several different languages, starting with back in my junior high days, Algol, Snowball, Fortran.
Yeah. Going deep now.
Moving on to COBOL, I even tried a little Simula back then. Basic, Visual Basic, Pascal.
Right.
So
Cool.
as the machines got more progressive, I started to use different languages. So now I'm into the cloud space, which, working with Java and Python and Node.js and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So if anyone out there is looking to engage with you or looking to connect with you, can they find your contact information in the comments below, or they can hit you up here on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. If you're not connected with Tim, if you're not following Tim, if you're not engaged with Tim, you really need to. I've said this all along, and I'll continue to say this until people get tired of hearing me say it. One connection can change a life. I think with Tim's background, he is that one connection that can help you up your business for sure. Tim, thank you so much for being on Coffee with Bob. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate the time.
All right. You have yourself a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Hang on.